Hello and welcome to the Pickle Jar. My name is Josh, and in today's video we're going to be... Hello? Hi, Spud. Yeah, I'm alright, mate. No, I'm just... We're doing what? So, just orcs. Right, okay. But are we going to paint a... Right, yeah, just orcs. No, that's fine. No problem. Alright, boss. Speak to you later, man. Bye. So we're going to paint an Ork Warboss today. Pickle jar! Pickle jar! Miniatures! Excellent! Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode here on the Pickle Jar. In this week's episode, we are going to be painting a Ork Warboss. It's actually the one from the 5th edition box set, Assault on Blackreach. I've got a Loki here with me today for the intro, looking very chill. Yes, today we are painting an Ork Warboss. We are painting the Blackreach Ork Warboss. It's an older model now, but it's one that still, to this day, looks absolutely fantastic. And I'm painting this up as part of my Chilling Wargamers entry for the June challenge, which is the green challenge to paint something green. So I decided to go with something orky. Just want to say before we get started that if you are enjoying the content here on the Pickle Jar, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below letting me know your thoughts. And if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing so you can keep up to date with all the content that we release in the future. With that out of the way, let's get started with the Let's Paint. So I started off by painting the skin for this miniature. I'm starting work on the head first. I am painting this guy in 3 separate pieces. So I'm painting his head separately, and then I'm painting his body and left arm all as one piece, and then I'm painting his right arm as its own separate piece as well. And this is just because when it's all put together, it makes it a bit more awkward to get to some of the recessed areas and things like that because of how his body is positioned. Like his head hangs down really far over his chest, which means I wouldn't be able to get to the stuff underneath. I painted this same miniature a few years ago, 10 years ago, and I remember it being a bit of a pain, so I've learned from my mistakes, painting him in separate pieces this time. So for the skin tone, I'm just going with a generic 40k orc skin tone, nothing crazy like I've been doing with my Orks, with the bright neon skin with the blue tint. I'm just going very standard, dark green skin tone with slightly brighter highlights. There's a tutorial for this skin tone on the channel if you are interested, and I'll put a link in the top right hand corner for you right now. So I spent a little bit longer than I would do normally on just his head, having spent about an hour painting this guy's head up, but it is an entry for the June competition over on the Chilling Wargamers Facebook page, so I wanted to spend a little bit more time than perhaps I would do normally. I also tried colouring around the lips and things like that, which is something that I've not really done before. I think it came out okay, but I definitely need to work on this in the future and try a couple of different methods to make that look more natural rather than look like he's wearing lipstick, which it did kind of look at one point. Teeth and mouth, again, just painting in my standard way that I've got up on the channel in a tutorial. Once the head was done, I started work on the main part of the model, which is the body and the left arm. So started off by base coating his trousers, using Rhinox hide, just a watered down Rhinox hide, and just very rough, going over all the trousered areas. Anything that's going to be leathery, so his trousers, his under jacket thing that's sort of underneath his armour, and then once that had dried, I'm then taking a lighter brown and just going over the top of that and highlighting the more raised up areas, leaving the recessed areas and the darker brown. This is this very typical effect that I go for with leather. It's really easy to do, and especially on something like this, I like my leather to look worn and sort of weather beaten and look damaged, and it would be with an orc. It would look damaged. It wouldn't look brand new sort of from the store or anything like that. All I'm doing is adding like some final highlights and things, and just getting this sort of lower down areas painted first. I always tend to try and work from the deepest areas of a miniature and then work my way outwards from the middle, if that makes sense, because they find that the deeper parts of a miniature are the harder to get to. So it makes sense to paint them first, so I'm not going to have to be trying to paint past things I've already painted to get to the stuff that's further in, if that makes sense. Once I'd finished doing the leather, I then got the skin done on his left arm and on his neck on the main miniature, and then it was time, once I'd finished the skin, to work on the armour finally. So all I'm doing for the armour is putting a solid base coat down of silver. I think I'm using lead belch in this instance. And I've wanted to try this sort of effect for a while, and I've not really painted anything that's been able to make use of it. So I decided to go ahead and try it on this guy. So I'm just base coating all the armour plating areas in silver. And then once they're all base coated, I'm going over the top and painting the colour that the armour is going to be over the top. But then leaving the edge areas in the silver so that it looks like the paint has sort of chipped away around the edges and worn away. Because if you've got something that's metallic and painted, the paint is over the top of the metal. So I figured that doing the same sort of thing on a miniature would give the look that I want for. So I'm using Mechrite Red as a base coat, just going over it. It's watered down quite a lot, and just very, very carefully, just feathering it on, as you can see, going across, leaving the edges in the silver colour, and just painting it on and trying to give that impression that it is chipping away and wearing away around the edges. I'm very happy with how it ended up coming out. So I went over it with a coat of Mechrite Red just as a base coat over the silver, just because the silver does shine through quite a lot. And then once the Mechrite Red was on, I then took Evil Sun's Scarlet and went over the top of this again with a very watered down coat, and just sort of feathered that more in the centre of the painted areas so that the Mechrite Red is closer to the edges that are faded and worn down to the metal underneath. As this gives like a nice transition between the two rather than it just being a flat colour across everything. I've tried a few different techniques for getting worn metal and rusted metal and things like that in the past, and I've never really been fully happy with the effect that I've managed to get. But having tried this, I'm now very confident that I would be able to use this same method for other things, and I'm very, very happy with how this one turned out. So that's a lesson for you. If at first you don't succeed, keep trying different ways until you find one that works for what you want it to look like. There we go, and it's starting to come together now, starting to get to where I want it to look. Once the red on the armour had dried, I'm just adding some rust to the armour, just because he is an Ork Warboss, so he will have the best armour, but I think it would still be a little bit rusted because, again, he's an Ork. So all I'm doing is taking Doombull Brown and just dry brushing this on in a few select areas, and then I mix in some Troll Slayer Orange with that Doombull Brown afterwards, just to brighten up the centres of the rust areas. This is a really nice, easy technique to do. There is a tutorial, once again, up on the channel. A link will be in the top right-hand corner. Once the rust and stuff was all done, I then finished off a few detailed areas. So I got the belts and things like that done on him, and I painted the cloth on the front, as you can see me highlighting here, and then adding a wash to the recessed areas just to dull those down a little bit. I actually forgot to record my painting the first part of the power claw on his left arm, but all it was a dry brush of silver and then a dry brush of Balthazar gold over the top of some areas just to give like a bronzed effect, and then I'm just going through and selecting certain parts and painting them a slightly brighter silver or a slightly darker bronze, and just mixing the metallic colours up and to give a sort of cobbled together effect, as it would be from an orc. I also added the burnt metal effect to the little vent there on the back of his power claw. I added this to the gun later on as well. It's one of my preferred methods of adding little details to weapons. Any weapons or jets or engines or anything like that. I finished off adding all the details and got him fully assembled, and here are the end results. I'm very happy with how this miniature turned out. As I say, I've been thinking about painting him for ages, and I'm just glad that this month's Chilling Wargamers competition was to paint something green, because it's got me to paint this fantastic model. So there you go guys, that was my full Let's Paint episode for my 5th edition Ork Warboss. I hope you enjoyed me talking through the process of painting this guy and giving a couple of tips and tricks and things like that. And I hope you enjoy using some of the techniques you've discovered in this video on your own Ork Warbosses. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, let me know your thoughts. And if you are new to the Pickle Jar, then please consider subscribing so you can keep up to date with all the content that we're releasing in the future. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages, the links for all of which are down below in the description, as are the links for the Chilling Wargamers YouTube channel and Discord. The Pickle Jar are a proud member of the Chilling Network, so if you want to get involved with them, head on over to their YouTube channel, head on over to them on Discord, leave them a message and tell them that we sent you. Don't forget, you can also find us every Wednesday evening streaming right here on YouTube. If you want to get involved with the decision on what we are painting in each stream, then make sure to follow us on Facebook, where we post a poll every Monday or Tuesday that you can decide what we'll be painting that week. That's all from me, guys. I'll see you next week with another video.